you can see, he's not preaching anything. Folks, keep it back there, please. I know everyone wants to have a look, but please keep it back there. Can we hear it for Crystal? Ottawa! I need it. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I'm on so many conditions, it's almost hard to keep track of them all. But they assure us that they're all for our well-being and our safety, and definitely not to try and prevent me from speaking, and definitely not to try and prevent me from getting my message and my truth out. And I guess what? We held them to that. We held them to that, and here we are today. And I want everybody to give a massive round of applause for the PBS, because if it wasn't for them, I would not be here. Right now. You guys are very fortunate, just like the people in Niagara were fortunate. I just was in Niagara Falls yesterday. I got invited there to the police department by the police. And to keep in mind, this is less than a week after I just went to the Hamilton Police Department and got arrested. And I got arrested 3 times in 11 days. Why are they trying to arrest me so much at this critical time? It's called 2 words, ladies and gentlemen. Vaccine passport. Make no mistake, that single piece of legislation is the biggest threat to Canada since Canada's inception. It is not an accident that we have an election on the 20th. We won't even find out who wins the election until the 24th or 25th because of the mail-ins. So while you're all arguing about the election and your favorite politician, on the September 22nd, quietly they just want to slip this vaccine passport into law. A brand new thing that simply takes all your rights and freedoms that previous generations fought, bled, and died for, and strips them away from you, and turns them into government-granted privileges predicated on taking a never-ending dose of experimental gene therapy injections. That's right, never-ending. You're never fully vaccinated, ladies and gentlemen. I want you all to realize that. There's no such thing as fully vaccinated. Once you've taken your 2nd dose, and they tell you you're fully vaccinated, a little timer starts ticking down. And within 4 to 6 months, you're going to need another dose. And then another 4 to 6 months, another dose. Every dose increases your chance of death and adverse reactions. Every dose increases the length of this pandemic. If you think that we are the problem, the unvaccinated are the problem, just look at a country like Japan. Japan has 135 million people. We have 37. Japan never had mandated masks, lockdowns, or mandated vaccines. They have half as many dead people as we do. So did our lockdown save us? Or did our lockdown condemn us? Look at Israel. They're even worse than Canada. They have almost the highest percent of their population vaccinated in the world. And now they have the most percentage already on their 3rd shot, and they're already talking about their 4th shot. And what do they got over there? Over 90% of the people in the hospital have been triple or double vaccinated. Countries like Sweden are actually banning Israelis from coming there because they're so infected. It's not an accident that the countries with the highest level of vaccination have the highest levels of COVID. You don't hear about COVID in Russia, where only 16% of the population is vaccinated. So why are they pushing this on us when there's so many other treatments? It's because it has nothing to do with the vaccination, nothing to do with your health and safety, and everything to do with control. If they can get you in the idea in your head that they can forcibly take you to take a medical procedure in order to go to work, or in order to go to school, or in order to go to a restaurant, what else can they make you do? Anything they want. Now you're going to have to take 2 pills a day. Now you're going to have to take a blood test every other week. What is stopping them? Nothing. You're just trusting them, and you're listening to them. And for the last 2 years, I told you every way they were lying to you, every lie leading to the next lie, and how it was going to drastically affect you in negative ways and drastically affect your children's future. I warned you all about the vaccine passport 2 years ago, and I was a crazy conspiracy theorist. Really? Really? How do you feel now? Yeah, exactly. Now you know what I get? The same people that were calling me crazy, calling me every single day, because my number's public. Unlike the politicians that pretend they're here to help you, you can actually find me. You can actually talk to me, and I will actually provide you a real solution. So while the rest of you were worrying about this election, which was the smartest way to distract everybody, everybody thinks that I'm divisive because I talk about how politicians are not the answer. Well, you guys are all arguing over your favorite politicians. Who's really being divisive? I'm telling you all, forget about the politicians, realize your vote means nothing, and worry about the vaccine passport, which is the biggest threat to your life and liberty in the history of the country. The election is irrelevant. Watch, I can prove it. You vote for Trudeau, we get more of this. You vote for O'Toole, the only other person mathematically capable of winning, even according to Maxime Bernier himself, you get the same thing. He already said he's for the vaccine passport. He already said he's for the gun ban. He even said he's for the Emergency Measures Act to really put the screws to us. So really, what's the difference? And then if you vote for any of the other parties besides the two major ones, none of them have a chance of winning. So if your vote is not going to affect the outcome of the vaccine passport, which we now have established is the most important thing that we need to stop in the history of our country, does your vote matter? The answer is no. Unfortunately, Canadians have been brainwashed, just like they were brainwashed in the pandemic. And I took the last 2 years to undo brainwashing that was only done for a few months. So now I'm trying to undo brainwashing from decades of programming, where Canadians have been programmed that their vote is their only voice and the only thing that matters. If that's true, how the hell did we get here? Did you all vote for lockdowns and vaccine passports? I don't think so. Right? No. So did your vote determine anything? No. Your vote is a way to pacify you. Because when you Canadians vote, you feel like you did something. You feel like you did your part. And then you sit back down on the couch when your politician either loses or lies to you, and you say, okay, 4 more years. Well, guess what, baby? If you go with that strategy this time, in 4 years, there's not even going to be a Canada. That's what United Non-Compliance is all about. That's what Just Say No is all about. It doesn't take a politician. It doesn't take an election. Proof. When's the last time anybody voted their way out of tyranny? Ever. Never. Never. So when a politician comes and tells you they're going to save you, like some did, I'm not going to mention them, and then even a week before they tell you, by the way, I have no chance of actually winning, but still vote for me so we can have a voice. Yeah, a voice. We have a voice. It's called a freedom movement. And they tried to take it and turn it into a political campaign. Why? Because if you're out here and you're ready to act, if you're ready to actually use United Non-Compliance, we will win. And I can prove it to you. Remember something called the hotel quarantine? One thing that was almost exclusive to Canada and a few other very disgusting countries like Australia, North Korea, Philippines. These are not the kind of countries you want to be associated with when we're talking about our freedoms and liberties, especially now. And guess what? That's something that the vast majority of Canadians were steadfastly against. And what happened? I made a little video walking through an airport, and I showed everybody how to decline the test, how to decline the quarantine, how to take their toilet paper fines, wipe their butt with it, and laugh at them. And guess what? When I did it alone, nothing happened. It wasn't United Non-Compliance. It was just non-compliance, and it worked. It worked for me, obviously. I didn't have to go to the hotel. I got my freedom, and I didn't have to pay their stupid fines, which were illegal. But when you guys didn't do it, it didn't change anything. We still had that law in place. But then something beautiful happened. Canadians watched my video, and Canadians threw some balls for once in their life. And thousands upon thousands of them walked through that airport and said, I'm not going to your goddamn hotel, and I'll happily take your fine. And what happened? My friend got his fine date back for his court date that said 2030. Yeah, that's what happens when you stand up for yourselves. The government gets overwhelmed overnight, and they have to capitulate. That's why there's no more hotel quarantine. And everybody that got a fine from that hotel quarantine knows it's already got thrown out. So what the hell do you think we have to do with this ridiculous vaccine passport? The exact same thing. Do I need to make another airport video where I walk in and tell them, I'm not giving you my vaccination status, give me a fine to let you know what needs to be done? It's very simple, people. If they tell you that they're going to put a fine and they're going to try to ban you from your job or ban you from this, I get people calling me every day like they're the only one that this is affecting. Literally crying to me on the phone, I'm going to lose my job. Ladies and gentlemen, They're saying that to every single person in the country. Do you think they're going to be able to fire every single person in the country? Do you think they're going to be able to arrest every single person in the country? Especially when our servicemen and women are on our side? Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that very critical piece of information. We had a protest September 2nd in Toronto, in front of Toronto Police Headquarters, thrown by the Toronto Police. I have inside information from them that over 1,500 of them refused a direct order to disclose their vaccination status. And that's what everybody needs to do. That's rule number one. For everybody watching, everybody recording, everyone listening, rule number one to beat the vaccine passport, right here. Never disclose your vaccination status. That's why the government's asking you to every which way they can. Because they know they can't force you to. Not by law, the cops can't, your job can't, nobody can. It's your right as a Canadian citizen. But they try to pretend that your rights don't matter and you should just give them up willingly because they can't take them from you. And if you're stupid enough and weak enough to do it, surprise, you deserve exactly what happens to you. But if you have a brain and you have a balls, rule number one, never disclose your vaccination status, just like our police did it. And now they're steadfastly against the mandates, to the point where the Niagara police stepped up and they wrote a letter. And they said, we're against the mandates. And at the very bottom of the letter, they said, send this to Chris Sky, because we want it to get out. And I got it out for them. And within a day, the mainstream media was in damage control mode. And they tried to say that it was only a small contingent of officers and it didn't represent the entirety of the Niagara Police Force. So guess what? The Niagara Police Force doubled down. And they wrote an update note on September 14th, where they did not mince words and said, oh no, this represents the entirety of the Niagara Police Force. And they went on further and said, not only do we take our oath to honor your Charter of Rights and Freedoms seriously, we will not just stand beside you in this endeavor, we will stand in front of you. That is your Niagara Police Department, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I went there yesterday to shake their hands and show my appreciation and get other people to do the same. Because when we back the blue and they're backing us, there's nothing our tyrannical government can do. Justin Trudeau is like a little baby in a crib playing with his toys. And no one's going to listen to him. He can scream and yell and threaten and all he wants. And guess what? No one's listening to you, JT. In fact, they're throwing gravel at you. I would love to see Trudeau have the balls and the integrity to show up to an event like this without having 75 security come beforehand and make sure he's safe. And then when he realizes he's not, changing venues 700 times. And then as soon as he actually sees people, instead of saying hi, they're going to say, screw you. And they tell him, and worse than that, I just don't want to be mean. Is there something wrong?
You're doing a great job, buddy. The only thing is our permit is only until 3 o'clock, so the power gets cut at 3. We have a few minutes left, so you're doing great.
They always want to cut my speeches. Notice that? I wonder why, but that's okay. We got it all in there. So rule number one to beat the vaccine passport is don't disclose your vaccine status. Rule number two to beat the vaccine passport is it's your duty as a Canadian citizen, man, woman, and child, to go out and get fined. It's a $750 fake fine, $1,000 for the businesses. They try to tell you you can get up to a year in jail. They try to tell you all this scary stuff to make you comply. Yeah, go for it. Go throw someone in jail for a year because they didn't want to tell you if they got vaccinated. See how all that works out for you. So that's what you got to do. If you don't take away anything else from this Ottawa thing, it's your duty to get off your friggin' ass, grow a tiny pair of balls, and walk into an establishment that you know is unfriendly and demand that you get a fine for your vaccine passport. And I tell you right now, if everybody in here did that, if 100% of you did that, if we were all from Ottawa, and every single one in this crowd did that in a day, there would be no more vaccine passport within a couple of days. That's how easy it is, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to stress out over voting for this guy or voting for this guy. You don't have to think about them as your savior. None of them are your saviors. If I came here and said I was a savior, start throwing shit at me. Because nobody can save you. You have to save yourselves. That's it. And guys, before they cut me off, I want you all to know, we're set up right outside, off the jurisdiction. If you guys want to do a meet and greet, I'm going to be on the road. We just got to line up so people can't swarm me, because then they'll try to take me. If we line up, socially distanced, we have a whole bunch of merch and books. I want everybody to buy the book, in particular, because it wakes people up. If people take it, they read it, they pass it around their work. And it's like a magical thing. Everyone that reads it becomes one of us. So that's what I want everybody to take away from today. How to beat the vaccine task force. Never disclose your status and go out and get a fine. That is the most important thing. I also started another initiative, and I'm going to run and get the flyers. I'm going to have them on the street out there. And they're flyers I created, and I put them on my website, realchrisguy.com, for free. You print them out, and you put them up in business windows, and it says they will not support the vaccine task force. And they are going up all over Canada. I got a few, I'm going to hand them on, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to print them out for yourselves. So guys, we're going to be right there on the streets. We got the merch, we got me, and we're going to be able to answer any of your questions because I can't get cut off over there. I love you all very much. You all know what you have to do. You know what you have to do. So go home and do it. Chris Guy, everybody, Chris Guy. Thank you, love you, man. Love you. Love you. A true freedom fighter.